Flosstube. This is Katrina, the Crafty Cataloger. Today is Monday, January 14th, 2019. And I sometimes find it hard to believe that we are in 2019. Does anyone else remember 1999 into 2000, how everybody was all worried about Y2K and we all stayed up and watched as around the world to see if the lights went out or if other things started to fail? I remember I was working at the school at the time, and for that whole 4 months or so before the new year, we were doing all kinds of updates to the computers and things because Y2K. I think it turned out to be really kind of nothing, but I do remember that, and it doesn't seem like it was 19 years ago. Anyway, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am glad that you stopped by and hope you find something that you enjoy. For those of you who have been to visit with me before, I'm glad that you've come back. I do appreciate all of the likes and all the comments that people leave me. I think I'm up over 150 subscribers, which again kind of blows my mind that there are that many people out there who want to listen to me talk. I don't think there are that many people in real life who want to listen to me talk, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with cross stitch. I did have some finishes last month. I'm going to have to insert them as pictures because the ones that I had finished were gifts. I did finish 3 of the 4 ornaments that I was making, and I did gift them. The 4th one didn't get finished in time, and long story, but the person it was intended for resigned, so I kind of felt bad that I didn't finish it for her, but I didn't. And also, I did fully finish the jeans and weenies piece for my sister-in-law, and I think it turned out pretty cute, and I will insert a picture of that as well. As far as whips go, my December Haid focus was Mini Village Bookstore, and I have to say that I didn't even touch it till halfway through the month. I just didn't seem to have a weekend to do that, and so I didn't get a ton of progress on it, but I have also still been working on it in January because of the School of Magical Stitches and Literature group, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. So I will try to insert a picture of where it was before I started working on it, and I did take one. I know I did because I thought about it. And then you can see here, let's see, I've done a lot here and even over here. And then last night, because this week's homework, I got sorted into Ravenclaw for that group. So this week's homework, I was supposed to stitch in browns and blues, and so I had to kind of go up here into the next page because I could have probably found more blues here, but honestly it was so much confetti I was getting like 10 stitches, and it was getting late and I needed to get that submitted, and I also wanted to be in bed by a decent hour, so I kind of flipped over to the 3rd page and grabbed some of the blue from the sky to finish that off. But I really do like how this is coming together. I love that I can start seeing the house. And this is more roof over here. So we do not have to justify how we are using our pieces for that group, but I've watched enough Jessie Marie to know that it's fun to try to come up with a justification. So my justification for using this piece for that group is that you would need to go to a bookstore or a library to purchase your copy of Harry Potter. And so that is why I have been using this piece so far. And I will use whatever piece I can of my pieces to fulfill the challenges, but for now that was the one that fit. I did have 3 new starts. I started Halloweenies. Let's see. I started Halloweenies on Christmas Eve day, and I kind of did that on purpose so that I could take it with me. And so, well, here, Halloweenies looks like that. It is a Plum Street sampler pattern. And I have gotten this much done. Oh, sorry. Still a newbie. There we go. That's better. And so I've gotten a little bit of progress. I really haven't worked on it much in the last couple of weeks. Actually, I don't think I've touched it in the last couple of weeks. So most of that was done New Year's, or Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, in that general time frame. Then on New Year's Day, I did a New Year, New Start. And I started this one. You know, the problem with my camera is that the screen is on the wrong side. So when I go to put something up here, I can't see then what I'm supposed to be seeing. I can't make sure that you're seeing what I want you to see, I guess is what the way I need to put it. I'm gonna do this one. Friends Through Thick and Thin, it says. It's from this pamphlet called Friends for Life, which is a Leisure Arts. It says it's by Deborah Jordan Bryan, and the copyright actually is quite a bit newer than I thought. I thought that kind of screamed 1980s, early 90s, but it's actually copyright 2004. I know that it is kind of cutesy, and it is kind of 80s, 90s-ish looking, but I still think it's really cute. And I am making this for my best friend, whom I met in college. She also is a cross-stitcher, although she doesn't cross-stitch as much as I do, and I actually don't know if she has done any cross-stitch lately. But we've been through thick and thin. I mean, we've been friends for 30 years now, and we've been through children and college, and thankfully she lives in Grand Rapids, so she's only about an hour away from me, and so we do see each other, not as much as we used to when our kids were little. We actually saw each other quite a bit. Our husbands get along great, and our kids are very close in age, so we used to hang out all the time, but as our kids have gotten older and been in activities, it's just gotten harder and harder. We do still make an effort to see each other every couple of months, even if it's to meet in a town in between the two of us and go for a walk. But she has been my friend through thick and thin. This is the progress I've made so far on this one. This one has a lot of blocks of color, of the same color, so of course that makes it very easy to get a lot done pretty quickly. And one of my Christmas presents from my husband was a new Kay's Creation lap stand, which I am really, really liking this for this project. I think it's going to be great. It's great for this project, and I think it's going to be great for all of my smaller projects like this, because I do like to two-hand stitch, which is something I would have never even considered before I discovered Flosstube. I was a stitch in hand person for, you know, years and years and years. I used the sewing method. I didn't even know that's what it was called, but that's what I did. And then I discovered two-handed stitching, and two-handed stitching has done great things for me, because I was getting to the point where when I would stitch, this finger, my ring finger, would start to fall asleep. I probably have early forms of carpal tunnel going on. I do sit at a computer all day long. And that was getting very annoying, and so I could only stitch for so long doing the sewing method, and then I'd have to stop for a little bit because my finger would be falling asleep. And two-handed stitching, for some reason, I don't know, it must be holding my needle a little bit differently. That doesn't happen. So I really am glad that I discovered that. And now it's funny because I tried to two-hand stitch, or I tried to do the sewing method for something the other day. It just needed like 2 stitches, and I thought, how did I do this? I don't even like this anymore. Now I'm like, the fabric feels way too loose. But anyway, so I was really excited to get that stand. And then I thought I would show you my other stand that I have. I've had this one for a year maybe a little bit more. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to show it very well. This is, you put this part under your thighs, and then your work sits across here. It does tilt forward and back, and these arms, there are 3 holes up here. I have them in the middle one right now. So you can adjust them somewhat, but I find that even on the inside holes, an 11 by 11 really won't sit. It's just like this much too short to sit comfortably, and it kind of likes to fall off. But for the scroll rods, for any of my scroll rod pieces, it is fabulous, and I love it. Has magnets here and here, so you can put your scissors up there. This piece right here is not part of the stand. I bought this separate from Amazon. My iPad, this piece, I don't know if I can do it while this piece stretches, and my iPad mini, it will hold my iPad mini in there. So I can have my iPad right in front of my face with my pattern on it. And I recently learned how to do split screen on my iPad. Didn't even know that was possible. So that was pretty cool. So now if I don't, for whatever reason, want to watch whatever I'm watching on the TV, like if I want to use my headphones, I can actually watch and do that at the same time. I mean, it's really tiny, but it's right in my face, so I don't need it huge. This is a Killer Quality Designs stand, and I honestly don't know if the gentleman is building them anymore. I went to the web page or the Facebook page the other day to see, and it didn't look like there had been any activity as of late. I know that when I bought mine, he was going to school, like college, and I had told myself I wanted one, and then I was like, no, it's kind of expensive, I'm gonna wait. And then when I finally decided to bite the bullet, I looked on their webpage and they had this message that said, he's not gonna be building stands right now because he's taking classes, but we'll let you know when he's on break and is gonna build some. So I watched that Facebook page like a hawk, and as soon as they said he was gonna be building some, I signed up. But I don't know if he's still in school or if he's decided not to build them. He just doesn't have time. It's very well built and it's beautiful. And sadly, this is the second one the man sent me because the first one got lost by the U.S. Postal Service. Thank goodness he insured it. But I do really enjoy that, and it's great for my larger projects, like I said. But I was feeling like it didn't really work well for my smaller projects, and I was really contorting myself in my chair to find ways to hold my smaller Q stamps. So I asked for the K's stand, and I really think I'm going to enjoy having that. So let's see, I've kind of been all over the place. Mini Village Bookstore may very well get some work because of this other group that I'm in. And I'm going to try to start rotating my smaller projects. Friends Through Thick and Thin, Halloweenies, Every Bird Welcome, and a new one that I bought, which I have not started yet, but I'm going to start next weekend. I'm going to try to do the new start on the 19th of every month. I bought this Dimensions, it's a Dimensions kit, and this is one of them. The Learn a Craft, where you get you get the hoop and the fabric and the floss all in here. Enjoy the ride. And my plan is to stitch this up for a coworker of mine who I work quite closely with on some of the things that I have to do in my job, and she's the one that has always gone to the conference with me, and her and I have become pretty good friends, and she's been throwing out that nasty R word. She says she's retiring in April. I'm gonna miss her a lot. So anyway, she is an avid runner and bike rider. So I'm going to stitch this up as a little retirement thing for her. So that will be my fourth one. I'm going to try to rotate my 4 smaller pieces every week. And hopefully I'll get through stuff pretty quickly that way. I've alluded to the group, the School of Stitches and the School of Magical Stitches and Literature. That's a group run by Kate from Kate's Crafting Corner and Vicky from Reading and Stitching. Last year the group was the Jane Austen Stitch Along. We read the Jane Austen novels and we're stitching Jane Austen related pieces. This year we've turned it into a Harry Potter group. So we're working our way through the Harry Potter series. And this year they've gone all out and they're issuing all sorts of house challenges. We were sorted into houses and we have homework to earn points for our house and challenges, reading challenges and stitching challenges. And so I'm going to do my best to help out my house. I got sorted into Ravenclaw, which is where Pottermore said that I belonged. We'll see. We'll see if I can keep up. I am currently listening to the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on audio. That is how I intend to do the books this time. I have read them in print. In fact, I own the whole series. And they're reread worthy. So I don't mind, but I wanted to listen to them this time. And I am enjoying them. And someone made a comment about could they listen to a podcast? And the answer was they couldn't unless the podcast was a reading of the book. Well, that kind of piqued my interest, so I went and I looked. And I never did find a podcast. I'm sure there's one out there, but I didn't search for very long. In my very short search, I did not find one that was someone reading the book. What I did find was one that's called Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. And it's kind of different, but I'm enjoying it. There are two hosts, a male and a female, and I don't know if they are Divinity School graduates or students, but they discuss each chapter of the book and they discuss it from a different theme every week. So for example, the chapter about Hagrid taking Harry to Diagon Alley, they talked about that chapter with the theme of generosity in mind. And it's kind of interesting to just listen to their thoughts. I will admit I am not one to analyze what I read. I don't enjoy analyzing what I read. That's not why I read. I read for enjoyment, not to analyze to find a deeper meaning. But I kind of enjoy listening to these two talk about the different instances of generosity that they saw in that chapter or whatever. So I've been trying to listen to 3 or 4 chapters of the book and then go listen to the corresponding 3 or 4 podcasts that go along with those chapters. Each podcast episode is about a half hour, so it's not terribly long. I'm hoping I can keep that up through the entire series. I don't think they are actually done recording the entire series. I think they're on about book 5 or 6, so I'm actually kind of hoping that by the time I get to those end books, they've finished up. But we'll have to see. And I am hoping to listen still to some other audiobooks when in between. But anyway, so that kind of didn't fit there because that really should have been in the book section. But it goes with the School of Magical Stitches and Literature. I think, the one other piece of haul I guess I got that's cross stitch related was I bought this, bought one of those cording drills that Vanna shows in her video. I was watching her videos when I was trying to finish those ornaments, and I had to kind of be creative in how I was going to make some cording because I didn't have this thing. So I got an Amazon gift card for Christmas, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use part of that to buy me one of these. So I haven't even taken it out of the package yet, but at least now, next time I try to make an ornament and I want to make some cording, I'll have it. It really was a very inexpensive little thing, so hopefully it will work as easily as she made it look when she was using it. So let's move on to quilting. I didn't do anything. I don't think I touched it at all, but I did want to show you something in the realm of quilting. It's not something I made. Oops, I'm gonna have a mess. My mom made my husband and my brother both quilts for Christmas, and I just wanted to show it off. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. Let me back up a little bit. These panels, let me try to get closer, have little campers on them. I love it. I just love it. And the back side is, oh, and then the border, that's the border. I really can't tell, I'm sorry. I can't tell if it looks okay that way, so I'll turn it sideways to be sure that you can see some of it. And then the back side is, it looks like wood. It's just brown. It's all flannel. I have never seen a quilt made completely out of flannel. And it's a good size quilt. I would guess, I don't know, it might fit on a twin size bed. This right now is kind of just floating around. I really don't, I did use it the other day when I was stitching. I put it over my legs. It's going to live its life in our camper. I think it's going to be fabulous out there. And I don't know as I've ever shown this quilt. This was the first, if I have, I apologize, I'm talking about the camper. This was the first full quilt I ever made, and I call this the camper quilt because it lives in our camper during camping months. And this green, you can't see it unless you look at just the right spot, but the green fabric right here has trees in it. The bedding that came with the camper for the master bedroom, I guess you'd call it, is gold, so this actually looks very nice sitting across the end of our bed in our camper. But I call this my camper quilt. It comes in the winter so I can use it because obviously I'm not spending any time in the camper, unfortunately. Boy, would I like to. In Michigan, where's our snow? Come on. If it's got to be cold, can we at least have some pretty snow to look at? Nasty outside. All brown. I want some snow. Knitting. Let's move on to knitting. Well, I'm probably gonna have to stand up again. I have a finish. I finished the baby blanket. Probably can't get far enough back. It's a good sized blanket. Plenty big for a baby. I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. The feather and fan pattern. There are mistakes in it. Yes, there are. I'm hoping that neither baby nor mother will notice. The plan is that I will find a box, wrap this up, package it up, and take it to the post office today. And I have not heard that she's had this baby yet. It was due the 12th, I think. And I haven't heard that she's had it. Well, I messaged her yesterday to ask for her address, and she didn't say she'd had it, so I haven't been on social media today to see if anybody's posted, but so pretty pleased with my first attempt at a baby blanket. I would make another one. I like it. And the other thing that I've been working on, knitting related, is my candle flame scarf. I bought these cool needle holder thingies. I bought 2 of them. One like this and the other one's not right here. My candle flame scarf. Oh, I also got myself some not stitch markers, progress keepers. This progress keeper is actually a little scarf. So there's my progress keeper from the last time that I would have shown it to you. So I've worked on that much. I really still enjoy working on this, and I really still love the pattern. I do need to get it finished so that I can wear it this winter. But I've been working on that. Now that I finished the blanket, I will probably look at starting at least one of the shawls that I have patterns for that I've been kind of waiting. I only kind of want to have like 2 things on the needles at once. So that's why I hadn't started one before. So that leads us to paper crafting. I did spend one day right after New Year's making some cards. My goal was to make the cards that I needed. Sorry, I post-it notes on some of them to show who they go to. I have a small box. I didn't bring it in here, but I have a small box that's decorated and it has little dividers in it that for each month, and so I tend to put a post-it note on a card if I make it ahead so that I know who I made it for, who I'm intending to send it to, so then when that month comes along I can just pull it out, send it. So anyway, I tried to make the birthday cards that I would need for the first couple of months of the year. I find I do better if I can do that. I don't do real well if I go, oh, so-and-so's birthday is next week, I need to make a card. It doesn't usually happen very well. So if I have them made ahead, I do okay. Then the other night I made 2 cards. They're very similar, but they are slightly different. One of these will go with the baby blanket, and the other one looks very similar, but it's slightly different. My husband has a cousin who is having a baby, and her 2 other children are teenagers. So of course she'd already donated and gotten rid of all of her baby stuff. So we're gonna do like a card shower and send her gift cards. So I bought her a gift card to Target the other day, and I'm gonna mail that to her. And then one of my son's roommates' grandfathers died, and he wanted a sympathy card, so I made it, and then he didn't take it or didn't send it. So I guess I'll put it in my box, and when I need a sympathy card, I'll have it. So those were the things that I made for cards this last month, and that takes me, I think that covers me through about March. So at some point I need to spend an afternoon and make like April, May, June, or through July or whatever, so that I can stay ahead. And I also need to think about next year's Christmas cards. I also find that it's much more enjoyable if I can figure out what I want to make and then make like 10 in April and 10 in May. That way I don't have to do 50 or 60 all at once. So that was what I did. I don't really have any plans for paper crafting, but if the inspiration hits me, I will make something. So the last thing to talk about today is reading. I have been reading a bit, but I have two books in particular that I wanted to share with you today. And both of them, one of them was a library book, the other one I listened to on audio. So I will insert pictures here of their covers. The first one that I wanted to mention was called The Glass Ocean, and it's a book that's written by 3 authors. I don't know how they do that. That just amazes me. Because to read it, you can't tell that 3 different people wrote this book. It's by Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, and Karen White. And they have written one other book together, and I believe the title of that one was called The Forgotten Room. And that was a very good book as well. The Glass Ocean was a very good book. I enjoyed it. It took place on the Lusitania. And it was a good story. So I would recommend that one. The other one that I read, and it was kind of funny because I was reading and listening to both of these at the same time. And normally that doesn't cause too much confusion for me. But the Lusitania, of course, would have taken place during or around World War I. And this book took place during World War II. And so sometimes I would be like, wait a minute, what war am I in? But the second book was called Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. And this book was excellent. It was about 2 sisters who survive the Blitz in London. And they actually end up getting split up. But you hear events and you hear about the Blitz from their perspective. And boy, oh boy, sometimes listening to a book like that really makes you thankful for where you live and the life that you've lived. You know, as Americans, we, so far, aside from Pearl Harbor, been pretty lucky. We haven't really ever had actual war on our soil. Well, and 9/11. 9/11 and Pearl Harbor would be the 2 times that as a country we have had actual attack or war on our soil. And so I can't even imagine what it would be like to live somewhere where you had to run to a bomb shelter or you had to fear for your life because there was actual fighting outside. And to live through not having stuff because your country is in shambles. Both of those books were very good. The Susan Meisner book, the last one I mentioned, Secrets of a Charmed Life, was the second book by her I had listened to. The first one I listened to, I think, was called A Fall of Marigolds or something. It had the word marigolds in the title, and that one would pull over on the side of the road for a bit because that one about had me in tears. She is a very good author, and I enjoy her books a lot. Her books probably would be categorized as Christian fiction, but they're not preachy in any way. So if you're not a Christian fiction fan, I think you might still enjoy it. The Glass Ocean book was just a general fiction novel. So I am working my way through Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone currently on audio, and I'm reading a series by Suzanne Woods Fisher that is about the Quakers, and it's kind of odd. And it's good, but it's different. So I'm on book 2 of that series. And other than that, I'm just trying to keep myself reading steadily and working on my crafting steadily. I am not one to make New Year's resolutions, but I do try to set myself some goals. I'm not sure. Is there a difference between a goal and a resolution? In my head, I feel like there is, but maybe there's really not. Regardless, my goals for this year are to make sure that I am leaving some margin in my life so that I have time to do the things I want to do, like read and craft. Sometimes I think we all get so busy and say, yes, I can do that, yes, I can do that, and then you realize that you don't have time to just relax. And so I'm working on that. I am working on trying to be healthier. Ultimately, I would like my healthier lifestyle to result in some weight loss. In my 30s, I lost a good chunk of weight, and of course I've put it all back on, and I would really like to see it go back away. I have joined a challenge on At My Run to walk 1,019 kilometers in the year 2019, which works out to 633 miles, which averages out to 1.75 miles a day. That seems very, very doable to me. And I even have thought this through to the point where on the weekends my goal is to walk more than, I've been trying to do 2 miles a day, although there have been a couple days I've done less, but I'm trying to pretty much do 2 miles a day, except for on the weekends I would like to do 3 or 4 every day, and at least one time during the weekend I'm telling myself I need to do 4. I've mentioned before that I work 4 10-hour days, and Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday I work 6 a.m. to 4:30, but Wednesday I'm the closing librarian, so I work from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Now, I realize that means I should be able to get up in the morning and walk a couple of miles before I go to work. But I know myself, and 99% of the time, I would not do it. I enjoy sleeping too much. So I have told myself that on the weekends, I need to make sure that at least one time I am walking 4 miles so that 2 of those miles can cover the upcoming Wednesday. So I've kind of given myself a pass. I don't have to walk on Wednesday, but I have to do the miles before that Wednesday. Now this past weekend I didn't do that, but once I get this video edited and uploading, my plan is to go for a 4-mile walk. I am off work today because I had to work yesterday. That's why I'm recording on a Monday. So I've been logging my food. I've been walking. I know that I just need to do better. I would feel better if I did these things. So that's my goal, is to be healthier so that I can feel better, and hopefully a bonus perk will be that I will lose some weight. My other goals are to read 60 books. I barely read 52 last year. There was a time when I read over 100 books a year, and I don't really know why all of a sudden I'm not reading quite so much. Might be because I'm stitching more. But I want to read more, I want to be healthier, and I want to, like I said, make sure that I'm leaving some margin in my life so that I can enjoy things and not always feel like I'm behind. So anyway, I hope that all of you had a wonderful holiday season, and I hope that your new year has started off on a good note. And I will probably be back in less than a month, because I would like to get back on filming more towards the first part of the month. Today was the first day I had the house to myself. So hopefully I will be able to get some progress on some things to show you in the first part of February. But until then, I wish you the best and hope that you have lots of stitching and whatever else you enjoy time. Bye!